Chapter 13. Zach was only a block away from the plant when he smacked his head with his hand. "I just thought of something," he said to the gang. "How are we going to get inside after hours?" Screech reached into the pocket of his striped t-shirt. He waved an ID in the air. "Press pass," he said gleefully. "Good work, Screech," Zach told him. "If I break this story, I can win Nanny back," Screech said. "I came prepared for anything." They pulled up to the building. The gate was closed and a guard was standing in front of it. He walked over to the driver's side. "Can I help you folks?" he asked. Screech leaned over and flashed his press pass. "We're from the Palisades Gazette," he said. "We're doing team coverage tonight on the employees who work here after hours." The guard slowly moved his gaze over Screech's pirate outfit and Zach's devil costume. Then he squinted into the back seat at a genie, Catwoman, Zorro, and a girl in a trench coat with green hair. Zach woke up quickly. "We were just covering another story," he said. "The masquerade ball at the country club." "For the society pages," Lisa piped up. "The press never rests," Slater offered. Kelly just gave the guard a friendly smile. The guard tossed the pass back into Screech's lap. "Why do I always pull duty on the night of a full moon?" he asked, rolling his eyes. "Go ahead, folks." Zach put the Mustang in gear and they drove through the gates. He parked in a dark corner of the parking lot. Then he and Screech quickly and stealthily led the way to where they'd seen Irina signal the third-floor office. "She's not there," Screech whispered, disappointed. "Look," Zach murmured. He pointed above. The light in the office was on. "I bet they're up there right now," he said. A shadow crossed the window. "That was Cal," Lisa whispered. "I know that gorgeous profile anywhere." "We have to get inside," Zach said. "Maybe we can hear something through the office wall next door." "Follow me," Screech said. The gang quickly ran up to the building entrance. The door was open, but the interior glass doors were locked. "No problem," Screech said. "I watched Barney the last time he punched in his code. I remembered the numbers because they were the same as my grandmother's birthday." Screech punched in 427. Suddenly, a red light began to blink. Letters flashed across the screen of the keypad. "Wrong code. You have 5 seconds to retry." "Screech! It's the wrong number!" Zach said frantically. "What happened?" "I could have sworn it was my grandmother's birthday," Screech fretted. I remember because last May 27th, I forgot to send her a card." "May is at 4, Screech said. "Screech," Jesse exclaimed, "it's 5. "Oh," Screech said, "I always get that mixed up." "Punch it in," Zach yelled. Quickly, Screech punched in 527. The red light changed to green and Zach tried the door. It opened. "Whew," he said. "That was close." When they got to the keypad for the stairwells, Screech punched in the same number. The door clicked open. "No wonder I never remember her birthday," he muttered. They tiptoed up the stairs, listening for any sound, but the building was dim and empty. The fluorescent lights flickered eerily. At the 3rd floor, Zach put a finger to his lips. He opened the door slowly and looked out. The hallway was empty. "Come on," he whispered. The rest of the gang piled out behind him and moved as quietly as they could down the hall. They noticed a thin stream of light coming from underneath the door of the 3rd office. "Let's try the office next door first," Zach whispered. "Then we can—" But he was drowned out by a loud pop. "What was that?" Kelly asked nervously. "It sounded like a car backfiring," Slater said. Jesse swallowed. Don't they say that a car backfiring sounds like a gunshot?" "Oh no!" Zach cried. "Irina!" The gang charged down the hall. Slater got to the door first. He reached for the knob. "It's locked," he said frantically. "Let's break it down," Zach gasped. Together, Zach and Slater slammed their shoulders against the door. They heard it splinter, and after another heave, it crashed open. Zach and Slater practically fell into the office with the rest of the gang on their heels. Mark Quigley was holding a foaming bottle of sparkling cider. Cal and Irina were holding out glasses. They all wore the same stunned expression. "Aha!" Screech said, extricating himself from Lisa's tail. "We caught you red-handed." With what? Cal said. Cider? Are you fermenting? Are you the fermented apple patrol? Mark Quigley blinked at Screech. Don't I know you? Screech adjusted his eye patch. Aha! You see through my disguise with the dastardly eye of a master spy. If you ask me, you're the one with the weird eye, Screech, Cal said, with a nod at the satin eye patch. What is going on? Irina asked. I'm confused. Who is a spy? You are, Screech thundered, pointing to Cal and Irina. Me? Irina asked. Cal laughed. Me? Only in my dreams. Zack stepped forward. Irina, why don't you tell us what's going on? Why are you here? Mark is helping me, Irina said. Carcassia was bombed today. We heard, Kelly said gently. We're really sorry. I coordinate the surveillance of the area for the government, Mark explained. I get up-to-the-minute details of which area has been shelled, block by block and house by house. Mark is my brother-in-law, Cal explained. When I met Irina, I told her that he might be able to help her. I cleared it with my supervisor, Mark went on, pouring the cider into Irina's glass. I'm allowed to give unclassified information to Irina, since she's a Zoldavian who still has family members back home. That way, she can keep up with what's going on at home more accurately than she can through the newspapers or TV. He smiled at Irina. Our government is glad to help out. Her parents are very active in the peace movement in Zoldavia. That's why we're celebrating tonight, Cal said, holding out his glass so Mark could fill it. We found out that Irina's parents are safe. Their neighborhood was untouched. I was so relieved, Irina said, thanks to Mark and Cal. Cal held up his glass. To your parents. Irina held up her glass. To my parents. And to you, she added softly. Lisa gulped. Maybe Nanny had been right. There was something between Irina and Cal. There was enough electricity in this room to light all of Palisades. Wait a second, Screech said. Why all the secret signaling? Why did you have to throw the information to Irina that way? Simple, Mark said. Irina has a bad hip, and the elevator is out. Plus, I'm lazy. We just devised a system to make it easier on both of us. What's the emergency plan? Zack asked Cal. Cal tore his gaze away from Irina. In case something happened in Zoldavia while Mark wasn't at work, we could page him. That's all it meant. How do you know about that? Never mind, Zack said with a sigh. Cal stepped over to Lisa and pulled her aside. I've got to thank you, he murmured. If it wasn't for you, I never would have gotten the courage to tell Irina how I felt. Thanks to me? Lisa croaked. You told me that she had feelings for me too, he said. Remember all those hints you gave me that day in the library? We spent time together. She was at the barbecue, and she was involved with newspapers. Newspapers? Lisa asked blankly. Cal gazed at Irina worshipfully. She's living at the Parker house, and Nanny and her father both work for newspapers. A pretty far-fetched hint, Lisa thought, but Cal had been primed to fall for Irina. She'd just given him the last little push. Lisa sighed. Her heart was a little sore, but it would mend. The worst part was that she'd given up her steady bow for a dream that hadn't come true. Jeff Racine would probably never forgive her. Now there were no boys in reserve, and she'd have to start from square one. She hated that. But tonight, she'd seen that there was more important things than boyfriends. The sight of Irina's white face across a crowded ballroom had given her an insight into what real grief was all about. Well, I guess we should be going, Zack said, backing out of the office. Sorry about everything, guys. I guess we let our imaginations run away with us. It's okay, Irina said. We understand. We do? Cal said. I don't understand anything. Jessie sighed. It's been that kind of night. It's a full moon, Kelly added. Weird things happen. Mark looked at his broken door. Speaking of weird things, he said, don't you guys know how to knock? A week later at the Max, the gang gathered to congratulate Screech on his first byline. He had written an article about Irina for the Gazette. It was great, Screech, Lisa told him. I cried at the end. You really got to me too, Kelly said. You made me see that our problems really aren't so important. So, Screech? Was Nanny impressed? Slater asked, taking a sip of soda. Screech nodded. She couldn't believe I actually wrote it, he said proudly. She kept asking, "Do you swear you did it all by yourself?" He sighed. "I'm so happy. And is she over Cal?" Lisa asked. I know I'm not. Although Toby Welliver asked me out today. He's really cute. I might consider letting him mend my poor little heart. "That's what I'm going to do for Nanny," Screech declared. "We're going out Saturday night. I realize now that I neglected her, and I won't make that mistake again." He sighed. "I hope she gets over him. She's still pretty sad." "We're all a little sad," Zach thought, surveying the faces at the table. "We all lost at love." Kelly and Slater had broken up. He had lost Irina, and because Kelly knew how he'd felt about her, she was still keeping her distance. Jesse and Slater were in their usual state of uncertainty about their relationship, and Lisa had lost both Cal and Jeff Racine. But they were together. The other night at the ball, the gang had seen that he and Screech had needed help, and they jumped in without hesitation. That's what had made the gang so special. Jessie raised her glass of soda. "I'd like to make a toast. Here's to Screech's article." The gang all raised their glasses. "And here's to friends," Zach said. Slater, Jessie, Kelly, Lisa, Screech, and Zach clinked glasses. "Friends forever," they said. Well, I'm glad they solved the mystery, and I'm glad you stuck around. Glad you toughed out 13 episodes, 13 chapters, more episodes because some of the chapters were doubled. But if you skipped it, it's kind of lame, really, and you missed out the best parts of the story, the ones you skipped. But if you did stick around for the entire thing, then you rule, first of all. And I guess that means you might be excited about the next hot novel about the Saved by the Bell gang. I know I am. It's called Operation Clean Sweep. Here's a little synopsis of how it goes down. With everyone suddenly single at Bayside, Zach, Kelly, and Jessie decide it's time to try something desperate. Blind dates. But these dates are totally out of control. Is this what has become of dating in the 90s? Find out in the next Saved by the Bell novel. I don't know if I'll ever find that book, but if anyone has it, you can send it to me, and yeah, I'll read it. Surprisingly. I might even read it aloud in video form. But that concludes Saved by the Bell, number 15. Zach in Action. If anyone wants this book, get in touch with me. I've read it aloud. Don't really want to keep it. I'll sell it to the highest bidder. But I thank you for, just thank you for joining in for an evening of literature. It's been great. My name is Kyle MacDonald. I've been your reader for the evening, and I wish you a great night.